Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining me here on Build Something Live, live stream. I do every Wednesday. What's today? Wednesday? Every Wednesday, around 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight. Are we in Standard Time now? Eastern Daylight Time, whatever, Eastern Time. And today you can see I have a slightly more ridiculous setup than usual. And that is because I want to, I'm going to be planning some block patterns. And the first thing I like to do is sketch out what I'm doing. And so I thought it would be a nice touch to do like an overhead camera effect, which I'm doing here. Let's see how it looks. Face cam. So yeah, move this out of frame, and then not bad, right? Can maybe lower the tripod a little bit evenly. Then I could throw myself in the bottom left here so you can still see me. And yeah, there we go. Lower that. Oh, my legs are uneven apparently. There we go. Oh, I see what I did there. All right. Now we can move it a little bit closer. And you could see what I've got going on here. Now, before we get into all that, maybe I'll bring up the Ecamm, the Facecam Studio whatever thing, and maybe I can get a zoom in on it, right? So yeah, well, you know, I'll share this. This will be a fun thing to share, maybe. The frame rate is probably terrible. So here I can, this by the way, this device came courtesy of a recommendation by Chris Lemma, who was using it at Skip the Grind and said that I should get one. Well, he said if I was like looking for a good travel camera, this was a good one. This is the Elgato Facecam. So let's see, yeah, I could do a little digital zoom here, frame this the right way. I bet, can I mirror? White balance, saturation, zoom. No, so I can't. Can I mirror? I don't know how mirroring helps you. Helps me a little bit. Yeah. So that's good. I can also probably just turn the camera a little bit. And then not mirror. Something like that. We'll get it all dialed in. But I do want to, before we get started, tell you about, well, first I want to ask you to subscribe to this channel. Like I said, I go live every week. I also put out at least one video per week. This week, it was on how I automate Twitter. Mostly how I automate like good tweets on Twitter using an app called Chur, and then the Tweet 100 challenge. Next week, what's next week? Next week's already scheduled. Next week I will be doing a video about the Safari tab color situation. I'll also probably be talking about Airtable and a few other things. But yeah, so I've got a lot of content coming out both here and on my new channel over at Podcast Liftoff, which I think I'm just going to make a note to myself, make a redirect for podcastliftoff.com/YouTube until I can get the full URL. So that is my spiel about all this. If you like these live streams and you think, hey, sometimes I won't be able to make it, you could always sign up for the Build Something Club over at buildsomething.club. You get access to the whole live stream archive, and you get ad-free extended episodes of my podcast, How I Built It, a whole day early. So that's ad-free, extended, a day early. And a bunch of other stuff. Live stream archive, like I said, a community of people, podcasters, creators. And so if you like that, I think that will be a good place for you to hang out, especially in the coming months. I am feverishly working to ship a new LinkedIn Learning course. And once I do that, I will move my full focus to the membership, where I plan on building a automations sort of library of all the automations I've been doing and how to think like an automator and stuff like that. So should be a good time. The last thing I'll mention, of course, is that super chats and super stickers are turned on. If you are watching over on YouTube and you want to make my lights blink and pin a comment to the top, you can do that for as little as $1. I'll also give you a big shout out. And of course, if you're hanging out in the chat, let me know. Say hello. Let me know where you're coming from. Let me know if you have any questions about podcasting or block patterns. Those will be the things that we're talking about today. Okay, that was a very long preamble. Let's get into the actual stuff. That's not what I want. That is more what I want. Okay, so let me see on the monitor here. That looks okay. Gonna have to reach across and grab a pencil. I like sketching with pencils better than drawing with pens. Okay. All right, so now we're here. Got my Blackwing pencil. This is from the Hardest Job in the World series from Blackwing. It's a collab they did with John Dickerson, who wrote a book of the same name, Hardest Job in the World, all about the presidency. And this is my favorite. It's a bunch of pencils with quotes from previous presidents. And this one is from, oh gosh, I think it was John Adams. No, Thomas Jefferson, maybe. May none but honest and wise men ever rule under this roof. I won't give any commentary on anything about anything that's happened ever, but it is one of my favorite quotes. Okay, so now we've got, I want to make sure that you all can see kind of the full canvas of what I'm working on here. Maybe landscape will be better for that. I don't think it will be. All right, so I want to make some, if there's like, if you're having trouble seeing this, because this is all very experimental, let me know in the chat. Say hello. Let me know. Okay. So I want to make a series of podcast blocks. So I guess the first thing I should do is maybe list them off here. So block patterns, I should say. Block patterns. So one will be subscribe buttons, naturally. Doug, thanks for being here. Looks fine. Fantastic. I do have the Ecamm software up. I did have the Ecamm software up. So if needed, I can zoom in or out. You know, like this is pencil, so maybe I'll zoom in a little bit here so you can see what I'm writing. But subscribe buttons. Yeah, you know, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Whee, this is fun. I also want to do a latest episode. The latest episode one is a little bit... what I would love for the latest episode one is for it to be dynamic. But you need like certain support for that. Like probably a shortcode or something from a podcast app. And I know Castos is working on some stuff, but this will just kind of be a latest episode, and then you could put whatever player you want in there. So latest episode, a CTA block, which would be like email, subscribe, probably, and then a show notes block. Now this is mostly a list, like an unordered list, but we can spruce it up a little bit, make it stand out, make it look nice. I think that's a big win. And then a top takeaways. Now this is mostly, again, an unordered list of text, but this will be the kind of prime the pump for podcasters to think about what value they could add to their episode pages. And then finally a transcript page, which I'm thinking this is going to be a 2-column situation where it's an accordion with text, if we can do the accordion support. If not, it will just be a styled box, and then next to it will be a download PDF button, right? Again, we want to give people ideas. And just to give you an idea of what my show notes pages look like, switch to this really quick. We go to howibuilt.it/latest. All right, so we've got, this is mostly template driven, right? This is not a block pattern page or anything like that. But we've got the player, we've got some subscribe buttons, we've got, oh yeah, sponsors, sponsored by. That's a good one. And then the description, the top takeaways. Oh, and share buttons. That's a good one too. And then we've got the transcript, which in this case it is an accordion. I guess it's not uploaded yet. And then a call to action here, which I want my call to action to be for people to join the Build Something Club. So that's why that's here. All right, so let's start sketching some of these out. And let's start with the subscribe buttons, right? So I have a general idea of what I want the subscribe buttons to look like. It'll be, I think, so the color control, the colors will be set by the block pattern, but then we can kind of, I think we could probably have it changed by theme.json, maybe. So this will just simply say subscribe, and this will be a button group, right? So we want Apple, Spotify, what's another big one? Amazon, Overcast, Pocket Casts, and probably one more. What do I have going on my homepage? Apple, why is this a different font? I don't like that. Oh, YouTube. And then what we'll do is RSS feed. And this will be a little box for them to copy and paste. So I like that for the subscribe buttons. And then I'm probably thinking here we'll have dark, maybe black, dark black. It's not a real color. But I'm thinking dark black here, and then high contrast buttons. Now I thought about, the first time I thought through this, I thought maybe I would do the colors of the brands, right? So like it would be purple for Apple Podcasts, green for Spotify, etc. And I don't think it'll be an exact match. And that is because Mel Choice pointed out kind of accessibility, contrast reasons. So let's see, did my tweet go out? I did. Okay, it did. Fantastic. I wonder how many people are watching. If you're, I guess if you're, I guess if you're watching on the website, I can't possibly know how many people are watching. And you can't access the chat. You'd have to do that through YouTube or Facebook or Twitch. And let's see. So am I rocking and rolling over on Facebook too? Jury's out. Should have checked this at the beginning. We're almost halfway through the stream now. Yeah, rocking and rolling over on Facebook. Cool. Okay. So I think I'm gonna do high contrast buttons, and then this, if I can make it happen, will be a text box for people to just copy and paste, right? Because there's no, like, I'm not going to try to embed JavaScript. I guess if I have a plugin, I can do that, but maybe I'll make a note for version 2.0. JS button to copy, right? And this, honestly, this is really more like a reusable block, right? I've gotten some questions about what's the difference between a reusable block and a block pattern. Reusable block is just a terrible name. It should be called a global block, right? A global block makes more sense because then it implies, oh yes, this is a block that I will change or create, and then I can put it places, and when I change it in one place, it'll change everywhere. That's what a reusable block is. Block patterns, well, they're really more like reusable blocks. That's just me, though. What do I know? So that is the subscribe button. I'll sketch one more out, and then we can actually go through the process of changing them or creating them. Because I'm sure that's probably why you are here. Yeah, I suspect that's why you're here. I'm just going to spin up one of my websites, my local sites. Get that ready. Okay, so let's skip the latest episode one for now. Because the latest episode kind of dependent on a podcast player. Call to action. Let's do the show notes block because I think the show notes block could be really interesting. So, again, we'll kind of want this box. And then I'm thinking this will be a big, bold show notes. Maybe we can get a light contrast color, like a grayish is probably what I'll start with. And then here, we're a little bit boxed in because there are only certain things that we can do from within the block editor. But I want to bundle this into a plugin where I can include my own CSS. So I might do like a pencil icon here, right? Where this is a link to whatever, always underline. And then maybe that whole list item will be separated to make these show notes look a little nicer, a little stand out. So maybe something like this. Now we could also, right, I can also do a white background with a shadow on the box and then like light blue borders. And then it kind of looks like paper, right? And yeah. But I think that like this kind of looks a little crazy. Don't know if you could see that. But. So this is probably what I want for something like the show notes, right? Maybe we'll have like an icon here. Again, I just want the show notes to stand out a little bit more. Because I don't think people do show notes well enough. I know I've had the problem of like forgetting links or just kind of throwing them in there. I left it to my VA for a while, and she still gathers them, but now I go back and check because I want them to be good. And I also want them to stand out. So that's maybe the show notes. And then again, for the transcript, I was thinking something like this, right? Where we have transcript. And it's mostly the text here. Again, I guess if I am doing a plugin, this could be an accordion. I don't want to do a jQuery accordion. I want native JavaScript or maybe just CSS, right? Because with CSS, you could do animations, right? So let's try to make that happen. And then a button here to download a PDF of the transcript. Okay. All right, so let's move this out of the way. I have too many things happening right now. So let's... I will have to find a better solution for doing more overhead cam stuff because that was largely uncomfortable for me. And then this camera, I was thinking I could do multiple angles, but once again, the iOS support for Ecamm, it may, you know, it could be because I got a new phone, or it could be I was using a different cable and like Ecamm knew, but either way, didn't work out the way I hoped it would. So now I'll just move all of this back over here. I feel like my wire management is better than most people. Well, better than a lot of people. But it would still like give a lot of other people agita. Okay. Got my sketches here. I've got looking at myself. Alrighty. So let's move to the camera. Thanks for everybody who is just recently joining. Feel free to say hello. I just kind of finished sketching out some block patterns, making a list of the block patterns I want to create. And now I am going to use a local site. I'm going to make sure Do Not Disturb mode is on. Gonna log into this local site and let's create some block patterns. So I'm gonna have two windows open, right? So I'm gonna create a page called podcast block patterns. And then I'm gonna open this up here. Nothing to see here, of course, because nothing to see yet. And I'm going to open this page in the customizer. That way I could start to style with CSS. So the first one will be the subscribe buttons. Now what I like to do when I create a new block pattern is create a group. And I also like to have the list view open so I could see exactly what block I'm in. Because with the group, there's no notion of rows in the block editor right now. Maybe that's coming, maybe it's not. But There's no notion of it right now, and a group is the closest thing we have to it. And I should also say that this is all native block editor. I'm not using any extra blocks or block packs. I don't want to create a dependency on any of that, besides the CSS that I plan to load later. And I should say, if this really interests you, gosh, I don't know if I could say this. I guess I'm not saying when it's going to come out, but I do have a course on LinkedIn Learning coming out about block patterns, kind of like a cookbook style. It's probably going to be, well, I don't know exactly when. I know I've shipped it off, and now it's going through the QA process. So, blocks, let's make this wide. Yeah, no. Let's make it wide and not full. And then we could do a border, but we'll just keep it default. I'm going to add a spacer here at the top. That spacer will be 25 pixels. Kind of arbitrary. Duplicate. And this is why I like to have the list view open, right? Because I can see where I am. Because I have two invisible blocks here. Okay. So now we want a heading. Subscribe. Or follow. No, subscribe is probably still the proper nomenclature. Subscribe / follow. That's center. And then we can also get a divider here, a separator. So thick, we're going to make this full width or wide width. Doesn't look like it matters. And then we'll add our first button group. Okay, and actually before I do that, I want to grab the whole group and set the background color text white. Make the whole box black. And then, so this is going to be Apple Podcasts. And I guess I can make it easy. I can make it easy for the person in that the link will mostly be there. Right? So like Apple Podcasts has the same, but they're still going to have to grab that link. So I'll put one in so they know what the link looks like. How about that? /podcast/ show ID. Ha! Show ID. Okay, so I've got the button. We're going to set the color. The text color will probably be white. The custom color, excuse me. Now, the custom color, like I said, I want this based on the actual brand colors. So I'm going to grab, using SIP, the hex color here, place it in the color picker, and then kind of move towards a more neon kind of color, kind of high contrast. I'm kind of eyeballing this. There's probably like some algorithm that I can use. And then bold the text maybe. All right. And and I guess we want to, can we change the hover state? That'd be neato burrito if we could change the hover state. Might have to do that manually with CSS. Not a big fan of that. Make sure the items are justified centrally. All right, so this will be Spotify. Again, the Spotify link is going to be like highly dependent on the show ID, so we'll just grab mine as a placeholder. And then the color. Now, Spotify's color might actually work pretty well. It definitely does, right? Because that's like, black is kind of their brand color. And probably still want that to be white, yeah. All right, Spotify, and then Amazon Music. Is that button even here for me? It's not. Music.amazon.com. There we are. Amazon Music. Again, this is probably some really long ID. Guess I can make, oh, that's probably a good idea, actually. Make a video on how to find subscribe links. Good idea. And for those interested, because I know I get asked when I'm on the stream sometimes, today I'm using the Platinum President. This pen was a broad nib that I had ground down custom to a medium nib. Shout out to Gina Salerno, Custom Nibsmith, Custom Nib Studio. Gina, I'm real sorry. Gina Salerno, I'm almost certain Salerno is her last name. But Custom Nib Studio. Highly recommend. She's amazing. So let's see, Gina. No last name listed on her site. Sorry, Gina, if I just like exposed your last name. I'm pretty sure I haven't. But yeah, so that's Gina. She's great. Yeah. Oh, Salarino. They, them. So Gina, Salarino, they are amazing. I send all of my nibs to them. And actually, I don't have it handy, but they just did an amazing grind. This is like a pen stream now. I think I'm losing people, but they did an amazing grind on this other pen I have where it's called a journaler's nib, which you can see on their Instagram. So highly recommend. Gina Salarino, customnibstudio.com. Okay. So show ID. And then color, background. Use the old sip method again. It looks like the brand color is up here in the hover state. The non-black brand color. That doesn't look bad. I could increase the contrast a little bit, but that actually looks pretty good. Again, they're using it against a black background, so it's kind of in line with their branding. So that was Amazon. So now I think I'm going to create a second row of buttons. So I will duplicate this block. Amazon Music. Doug, man, thanks. How did you know that? Oh, Yeah, this is their orange. Oh, I wonder. So I've been seeing the blue for their podcast buttons. Okay, Amazon. Uh, I'm just gonna Google Amazon podcasts. Amazon Music podcasts. Yeah, so this bluish logo here, I think is, so the orange is definitely their brand color still, but I think they went with like this blue for at least the podcast part of it. Probably so people don't get confused with like their buy now button. All right. So I am going to, but thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. Duplicate this, and then we'll just do the old switchy switch. This is going to work out actually because the Overcast logo is orange as well. So first I'm going to do YouTube. And everybody knows how to find a YouTube link, so I'll just do... I guess I should be consistent. That way in the documentation I can be like, just change show ID. And the YouTube brand color is pure red. Pocket Casts. Is that right? I think it's 2 words probably. In my Prime account, it's also a different blue. Doug, thanks for the sleuthing. Yeah, I think I'm also logged into Amazon Music here. I wonder if there's a difference for people depending on their status, I guess. So Pocket Casts has a very short link. And then they are also kind of red, but it's like a lighter red. Red orange. It's very close. Hey. So I'll just slide it over. And then it could be separated by Overcast. And funnily enough, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the Overcast URL is based on the iTunes URL. Somehow. Podcast, how I built it, ID. Yeah. But I'll just get it started this way. And then we'll grab that orange. Now I promised in the newsletter, if you follow along there, or on Twitter as well, that I would give a little preview of the Beyond 8 bootcamp that I'm working on and promoting. And part of the plan... Do I like that? I feel like maybe this would all be better as one group. Can I just drag these? That would be super amazing. I can't. I can do this. Don't try this at home. Or do, whatever. I'm not your mom. Okay. Copy the buttons. Well, that didn't change anything, really. Would I make the buttons equal lengths? Doug, great question. Yes. Well, I would like that. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know how, though. Width. Oh, no. Undo all of that. So I think I'd have to add some styles in for that. Also, like, I'm not really... I want this to be tighter. All right, so I guess we'll add our first custom CSS here. Now, pro tip. When you're adding some custom CSS... Oh, you can add padding to the box now? We don't need spacers anymore. Do. Yeah, that's nice. So pro tip, on the group, I recommend adding a custom class that you can target. So for me, I will do PL subscribe buttons. PL, prefix for podcast liftoff. And then we'll go back out to this page not found situation. Looks a million times better there already. One of the most frustrating things about the block editor is that we're supposed to get WYSIWYG, but we don't all the time, right? So let's do some CSS spelunking. See how these are styled. These are flex. Flex, same with all children. That's a better question. Equal columns. Well, that's not great. That's not what you want. I wrote a book on this. You would think. You would think I would understand this better. It is this. It's this that's being displayed as flex, flex wrap, flex direction, column gap. All right, so all that's good. This is why I prefer grid. Because grid it would be very easy. So let's go back. That's not quite what I was looking for. Auto might be what I'm looking for. Oh, nope. Not quite, but this does look nicer. And the reason I'm not going to set them to a specific size is because we want them to use the spacing in the flex box, right? Because there are other things to think of. And then we want them to be a little responsive friendly as well. So, oh, well, maybe if I spelled auto right. Okay. Well, I think I like 0, 0 auto the best. All right, so we'll keep it at this for now. And gosh, we're like already out of time. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And I am speaking at the Nexus Holiday Summit in 10 minutes. Not speaking. I recorded it previously, but I should be around for that. Oh, actually, but first. Yeah, so let's do this. Oh, that is not nice. That's not nice at all. That is not nice at all. Using not important in a theme, or using important in a theme. Unbelievable. gosh, I don't like this at all. Doug, my pleasure, man. Thanks for, well, man or lady, person. Doug, thank you for being part of the stream. I really appreciate it. I'm going to figure this out now, or otherwise it's going to drive me crazy, and then I'm probably going to bounce. So I will do my wrap up here and now. If you liked this stream, of course, be sure to subscribe here on YouTube. Or wherever you happen to be watching, I guess. If you want to watch this later, or you want to see some of the other live streams, be sure to join the Build Something Club at buildsomething.club. It's just $5 a month, or $50 a year. So, yeah, you get a whole bunch of other stuff included with that. And I'll probably release this plugin to the club first, for free. And if I ever decide to make a commercial, people in the club will get it for free. So there you go. I should probably write that down so I don't forget it. But for now, I am going to try to figure this out in like the next 2 minutes. I can't believe they used an important tag here. Drives me bonkers. Is current color a recognized keyword? Current color. Current color is a variable. And the background is set. The background is set in an inline style. What a bananas thing. I'm gonna do border none. Okay. Well, why don't we do border transparent, border color transparent. Okay, there we go. Background color. Inherit's not working here. Current color is not a variable. It is a keyword. Is this new? Oh boy, this frustrates me endlessly. I'll keep it like that. Even though it's wrong. And that's worse. That's worse. And we'll revisit this next week. All right. Well, thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed this stream. And get out there and build.